Hello, everybody. This is Michael Ray. I'm with Notary2Pro, and thank you for joining us today on our, I don't know, 8th or 9th or something like that, roundtable. We've had a little bit of a break, but now we're back after the summer here to restart these roundtables. And well, I'm joined with quite a panel today. So first of all, we have a new marketing genius, Alana. We can wave Alana. There's your picture up there. Alana's from Hawaii, and she's a marketing student at GCU University, and we're very happy to have her aboard. We're also joined with Andrea Dooling, who is well known from her YouTube channel, Not Me Notary, and is one of our expert faculty members. And I'm very proud of my sister, Lori Glockner, who is our Notary2Pro Director of Operations, joins us today. And also Stephanie Rowland, our very respected professional notary faculty member who runs New Beginnings Notary. So we're all delighted to be here, and we're excited to speak to you today.
Hello, everybody.
Okay, let's go forward a page. Okay, so we do these roundtables once a month. So join us every month. We try to focus on things that are highly impactful for our community and our students to help them grow their business, expand their skills, or just make work and life better. So today's topic, we're doing overcoming issues during signings. And there are many, many issues that can happen during signings, but we'll talk about a few of them today, and we'd like to hear from the audience as well. If you are on the chat, please, I'm seeing a note. Our chat is not live. Is that right, Andrea? Or
not quite sure.
Oh, well, next time. Okay, well, sometimes if you don't click all the buttons on Zoom, you can't have a chat. So sorry, folks, if you normally we have a chat and we ask you all to introduce yourselves, but we'll make sure that that's set up for next time. I think that you can enter the Q&A though, and we will be able to see questions from the audience. So and if you can get into chat, please just introduce yourself. I don't think it's working today. So
how did she do that?
Okay, next page, Alana. Okay, we had a little chat before the start of this roundtable, and it seems appropriate to talk about some of the issues that happened before a signing. And I think our panel is 100% united in the opinion that at some point your printer is going to give you difficulties. And Andrea, I've never heard you swear, but according to Stephanie, sooner or later, every notary swears at their printer. Is this true? Is this accurate?
Yes, and it's not just little words.
I don't know that I've ever sworn, but I'm sure you've seen the cartoons back in the day where the person, there's steam coming out of their ears that has that.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So and it always seems that printers malfunction exactly when you need them urgently, right? You're just running out the door and the printer malfunctions. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Can any ideas for this, guys? Any suggestions for our audience on dealing with printer issues?
Well,
I told you a story about, sorry to step on you, about a dear friend of mine who we were coming to his house one day, and we were walking up his front walk and saw his office window open, and a printer comes sailing out of the second floor office window onto the driveway. And I think we've all felt like that. But that, check me if I'm wrong, but I don't know if that solves the problem.
Oh, but it guarantees you're going to buy another one.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Okay, so what's the
Well,
best way to prevent
it's
this?
frustrating when you've done everything that you're supposed to do and your printer seems to be working because you've used it like 3 minutes ago, and then it goes into a deep sleep and it stays in a deep sleep.
Yeah.
I don't understand. So what I always end up doing is having to turn it off and then back on, resetting it. And then that usually corrects the problem.
Yeah, the famous reboot.
Yes.
Right.
One thing that your mom always mentioned was if you are a brand new notary, do not accept your first closing with only like a rush closing. It's happening within the next hour or two, because undoubtedly your printer will screw you up every time.
Right. Right. Wait until you're more experienced to take those high pressure printing assignments, huh?
Right.
Okay.
For sure.
So I think we had a poll. Alana, did that pop up? Do we have results on the poll? How many people have experienced printer issues? Is that the poll? If you haven't answered, go ahead and answer now.
Yeah, so 83% of you guys have said that you have encountered printer issues. 85% have encountered printer issues.
85%. Wow. And the other 15% are either extremely lucky or lying. No, I won't say that. I won't say that, but okay. So, any favorite printers
One that's working.
here?
I have two Brother laser printers, and I really like both of them. I have the HL 6200 dual tray, and I think the MF multifunctional 5200. Both are excellent printers and very fast.
Yeah, fast is key. Dual tray is important. Laser
And
is far better than inkjet.
Always use laser, never inkjet while you're doing signings, because they will most likely could be rejected in the recorder's office, the county recorder's office, but the ink will smear.
Oh, right. Right. Has anybody used a portable printer for last minute stuff at a signing? Lori,
some people have them in their trunks.
Lori, I'll put you on the spot. You've used it?
Yes.
What do you find it useful for?
For well, screw ups. So if I need to print out some other sheets that maybe my stamp didn't stamp correctly, or the borrowers didn't fill out something correctly, so reprinting. And then also sometimes they reach out to you and go, oh, you know what, we forgot to add this sheet in. And so you can print it out while you're there instead of having to go somewhere, go home and come all the way back. Especially I would drive really far. I took the farther signings up in the mountains and stuff, so it was really convenient.
Yeah,
and
keeps you from having to go find somewhere to print or turn home. Sure. Awesome. They're not expensive anymore either, I don't think. Can you print from your phone with those?
I can, but I don't know how to print from my iPhone, both letter and legal. I don't know how to do that. Andrea, do you know how to do that?
No, I don't have an iPhone, and I don't have a portable printer either. I've thought about getting the portable printers and scanners put in my trunk, but I never got around to it.
Since the chat's not working, if you'd like to, if our audience has any suggestions for that, put it in the Q&A and we'll read it out for you.
Mark Sampson put something in there that he's using both Brother 5200 and 6200, and he can print the wet and dry copies at the same time.
What does that mean,
also,
wet and dry
Yeah,
copy?
what does that mean?
Let's see if he'll answer.
Okay.
Does he mean legal and letter?
Or maybe one to be signed, one to leave? I don't know.
That's probably
Oh, yeah, that's what it is.
Okay, all right, good. Alana, let's move on to some things that are common during signings. I think we all share a mutual challenge with printers, but
You know, can I just say one thing about
Sure.
when I had printer issues?
Mhm.
Sometimes it's actually like not the printer, but how documents have been uploaded. I found that if somebody, the people on the other end, whoever was uploading, that they didn't do it correctly, that I seem to have printer problems, but it's because of
and it's about how they were uploaded to the
that
site
they
that
weren't
you're printing
uploaded
from.
correctly.
Yeah. And the other common thing for printing is just the Wi-Fi. It's just your connection, either Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. And if you're not connected properly, no amount of kicking your printer or smacking it around is going to help. So, yeah. So good. Okay. So are some common issues that we see during signing, and hopefully not too common, right? So
Incorrect spelling is pretty common.
pretty common.
Yep.
And when do you find that, Stephanie? When does it become clear that there's an incorrect spelling?
Well, so I always ask my borrowers when I make the confirmation call, whether I'm emailing them, texting them, or speaking to them on the phone, I purposely ask them to review their closing disclosure very meticulously, very carefully, to make sure all the loan terms are correct, but also to make sure that the property address is correct and spelled correctly. And their names are spelled correctly. So 99.9% of the time, that solves the problems for me. But
Yeah.
I have had signers or problems where most of the documents are spelled correctly, but especially if it's on a recorded document like the deed of trust, you have to halt the signing and contact the lender or the title company and ask how you should proceed, because you don't want to take it upon yourself to strike out and have them initial and write in the correct name without permission, because it could be rejected by the recorder's office.
Okay. Very good. And so once again, it's really preventing that from
Yes.
being a problem at the signing. What do you do, either Andrea, Stephanie, Lori, what do you do if you get there and it's incorrect, if the spelling's incorrect?
Call
what's the process?
If you have contact numbers for the lender or title company or escrow, contact them, or the signing service if they hired you. Because you can't assume that they want you to cross out, have the borrower's initial, and have them write in the correct spelling. So always contact whoever hired you.
Yeah. If you do cross it out and they didn't want you to, that could be a major issue, right?
A major issue.
Yeah, you could be signing the wrong person.
Well, no, because you have the driver's license.
But I mean, if the loan is written for person A and you show up and sign person B because their name's on the document, I don't know, that might be, well, that wouldn't quite be correct.
It probably
you know what I mean?
wouldn't.
Yeah. Okay.
And out of all of the closings that I've had and their names were spelled incorrectly, I've only had one company that told me, okay, I want the signer to line through, write out the correct name, and then initial.
Okay.
Only one company has told me that. Every other company has said we have to adjourn the closing. So you really need to contact the appropriate people so that they can guide you on what is allowed and what's not.
So by adjourning the closing, that means they need to redraft 100% of the documents, get them to you, and hope that it doesn't impact the ultimate viability of the loan, right?
Yes, sir. And oftentimes that's going to take days to do.
And what?
Yeah.
Oftentimes that will take days to do.
Just to change one letter in a name, or?
Yes, it makes a difference to someone.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
Well, I've even had to halt the closing for instance, like in my area, there's some cities where they have like 56th Avenue Street Court Northwest. Okay, so if it says northeast instead of northwest, and that is on the deed of trust as the property, that's going to be a problem. So you have to make sure that the property address is spelled correctly, is correct.
Right.
Also, is above and beyond the names. Well, not above and beyond, but
Names.
yes.
Property address is critical for sure. Now, I don't want to put the presentation back up, but there was another bullet point about signers not being willing to sign the name. I think as it's appearing on the document. Is that right? Have you encountered?
Yeah, a lot of signers have issues because, you know, people have their way of signing their name. And like, for instance, my middle name is Ann. I don't sign my name Stephanie Ann Rowland. I sign it Stephanie A. Rowland. That's how I sign my name. That's what's on my notary seal.
Yeah.
But a lot of lenders will type in the full name first, middle, and last, and have their signers sign that way. And there has been times for me when they've flat out said, no, they're not going to sign that way because that's not my signature. That's not their signature. So I've always been able to explain to them that they need to sign exactly how the lender has their name printed. And oftentimes it's because it's been on the previous deed of trust that way.
You mean their name has appeared on the previous deed of trust that way? Okay. So it needs to be consistent.
Yes.
Okay. Has anybody else ever encountered this challenge or common challenge?
It is. It really is. And you have some people that are adamant that they do not want to sign as it is on the documents. They want to use their normal signature, which sometimes their normal signature could just be 2 letters. It could be their initials. And so I'll say something along the lines of, okay, I understand this is the way you typically sign. It's my job to tell you that if you do not sign as it is on the documents, you're at the risk of the entire loan packet being rejected.
Yes.
Yeah, and nobody wants that.
Right. You can sign how you want, but there's a risk. And oftentimes they're like, oh, I don't want to go through this whole process again. I'll sign however you want.
Right. Most people just want to close.
Right.
So, right.
Well, here's an interesting one. So one time I had a signer who was obviously in his 30s or late 30s, maybe early 40s, who didn't know how to write cursively. And I didn't know how to proceed with that. So I called the lender and they said, well, we're good with it if he just prints his name because that's his signature. And it actually was on his driver's license, printed name.
A printed name.
Yes, printed name. And that kind of blew me away because, well, I don't know. It just kind of blew me away. I'm like, how can you sign loan documents and print your name?
Well, it wasn't that long ago that people would sign with an X if they didn't know how to sign their name. And the notary would just certify that's their mark, right?
Well, that's more for if oops, I just broke my pen. I'm playing with my pen. Isn't that more for like if they have a hard time signing their name, if they're disabled, or maybe they have Parkinson's or something like that? Signature by mark by X.
That's an interesting idea. I'm not aware of that. Any other comments from our panel or any of the audience has done a signature by mark?
Yes, I've done a signature by
mark.
Mark.
Lori is saying, okay. So you've done that.
Yeah.
And it's under those circumstances, somebody's disabled, they have a difficult time writing their name.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, very interesting. Okay. And I'm assuming that's just something that you make your customer aware that that's what they're doing. Yeah. Okay.
Make everyone aware.
There is a question.
Mark Sampson said that in Texas, a mark be used due to illiteracy as well. So if somebody
Okay.
can't,
Oh, okay.
Somebody just doesn't have the
Can't read.
ability, they don't know how to
Yeah.
sign. Right.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Most people assume I'm illiterate because my signature looks like something died on the
doctor?
page, but
Like you're a
I
doctor?
don't know. Anyway, it bears no resemblance to my name.
So,
So,
um,
go ahead.
can I ask something? With the ID and the signing and everything, you know, we stress that they need to sign their legal signature.
Mhm.
And what have you two encountered, Stephanie and Andrea, when you see that they sign a certain way? I sign a certain way, but it is not my full name, which is on my driver's license. I sign with a weird, horrible mark.
In other words, their signature matches their driver's license, but not the name as it's written on the document.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So if it's legible, if I can tell that it does not say Lori Glockner, then I'll explain that I need you to sign just as it is on the documents. If your signature is like Michael's signature, where no one can tell what it says, then we're good to go.
Yes.
We're good.
Uh-huh.
I've
Yeah,
also
and that's
encountered.
particularly helpful when someone has a scribble for their signature. And I ask, well, is your middle initial in there? Is your middle name in there?
Yeah.
And they're like, no. And I'm like, well, what would it look like if you did write it? It looks the same. Okay, we're good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, if you are reasonably sure that the person that's signing the document is the same as the person on the driver's license, then you're also good to go in my state, in the
Mhm.
state of Washington.
Great.
If you're more than, for me, I would have to be way more than reasonably sure,
Mhm.
but that's what
Mhm.
our law says.
Okay. Great. Alana, there was a third possibility there on that sheet. What was that? You don't have to put it back up. You could just tell us, or you can put it.
What if the signers aren't home?
Oh, they're not home. You made an appointment,
Well,
they
you
don't show
wait,
up?
you're supposed to wait a good 20 minutes.
Mhm.
Most signing services will say, wait 20 minutes. If they're still not there, then call us and we'll
Mhm.
tell you whether to leave or not.
Mhm. Do you try to get cell phone numbers for your signers before
Yep.
you show up?
Try
So you
to,
can call them, right?
and
That's an
text
important
them.
thing. Call or
Yeah.
text or find out where are you, right? Things happen to people, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
And what are some of the other scenarios then that you've run across? And Stephanie, I don't want to put you too much on the spot, but you have a really interesting anecdote to share about something else that happened at a signing.
Oh, you mean the one that we talked about prior to the, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean about, okay, so if you show up and one of the signers is totally flabbergasted as to why you're there.
Mhm.
That happened to me. I've told this story before. It was in my first year. I had a full day of closings and I showed up and the wife answered the door and she's like, who are you? I'm like, I'm the signing agent. I talked to your husband. He's aware that I'm coming. And he's like, well, I had no idea he was refinancing. So it was pretty ugly. The wife and the husband got into a big fight because she did not know he was refinancing. And a lot of things happened along the way. It was taking a long time. I was trying to get them to get signing. And the wife got mad at the husband. She said, if that lady does not leave, I'm going to call the cops. And I said, well, that's fine, but my instructions per the hiring party said I am not to leave for any reason other than if the papers have been signed so I told them that I had to call and let them know, and that they got
They
really
got very upset.
agitated.
Yeah.
So he picked up the phone to call the cops, and I decided I'm heading out. I was
Yeah.
shaking pretty bad. I rolled down the street a couple blocks where I was safe, and I called your mom, and she
Oh.
talked me down. She said that I did the right thing. I
Sure.
was just, and then it happened that my next closing happened to
Mhm.
be a couple that I had signed a year prior, actually 6
Mhm.
months prior. And they could see that I was kind of rattled, and I told them what happened, and they're like, you did the right thing. So it really kind of calmed me down, and I was fine after
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah.
all of
So, Stephanie, do you think had the husband pressured the wife to sign, that would have been duress, right? And a problem.
yeah,
So it's probably best that you left. And-
I was really quite happy that I
Uh-huh.
was able to leave at that point, because
Yeah.
there were other things that I don't really want to say on
Yeah,
video that
that's
took
fine.
place. It was pretty scary, actually.
Yeah.
But
Well, not to make
my
light of it,
scary-
Stephanie, but I think for next call, we need to have your mugshot, okay, to show the audience. All right.
Oh,
With a
you mean
little,
because
with a
I
little
was in jail,
plaque
right?
with your, your number underneath. I'm teasing you because I know
I
you
know
didn't
you
actually
are.
go to
I know
jail,
you
but
You don't want my
I think the
mugshot?
audience would like to see it. So, Lori, you highlighted a question from one of our audience. Nancy says, what if a driver's license has a different address than the address they live in? Do you put the current address or the one on the license?
I asked for their current living, where they're living.
Mm-hmm.
So in my notary book, I'll put where what it says on the driver's license, but I'll
Mhm.
also make a note of the signing location.
Okay.
So I
That's what I
may,
do.
yeah, they may be living at 123 Elm Street, but we're actually at McDonald's. So I'm putting both of those.
Mm-hmm. And that way you have a thorough record of everything
Right.
that was asked. And that's got to be a very common scenario, right? People don't always update their driver's licenses. So
Yeah,
great.
the NNA has their journal has a section for the address of the signing location, as well as the address for the borrowers, their living address.
Perfect. Okay. So Alana, we've got a very short time left. Have we missed any of our scenarios for our panelists to deal with? By the way, I think, thank you. Was it Mark that highlighted that there's a known issue, a printer issue between Adobe and, I'm trying to track that down.
Cindy answered.
Oh, okay. Cindy answered. Okay, great.
Um,
There is a known issue apparently. Okay. Alana, what do
and
we
then
miss?
he had another, Mark Sampson did. I put it in the chat that
Well, maybe
nobody else can read.
Maybe we should invite Mark out onto a future roundtable. He sounds like. Thank you for your comments, Mark. We enjoy all the feedback, so this is great.
So I think we missed, and I know we're running out of time, but we missed the parts that we're talking about interruptions.
Ah, yes, this is a good one.
It
The
is.
dog or the cat, the kids, the TV,
Phone
grandma,
call.
grandpa wandering in, right?
Mhm.
What do you do?
I generally try to be patient, but if I recognize that it's going to be a continuous situation, then sometimes I'm not afraid to ask, well, is it possible for us to move to a quiet location?
Mhm.
And that quiet location could be outside on the bench. It could be down the street at Burger King. It could be somewhere where it's just me and the signers. And that's only if my patience has run thin. And I'd like to think I have a lot of patience, but sometimes if sometimes people will take your kindness for
Mhm.
weakness and they'll just keep abusing it, and
Yeah.
you are on a time crunch. You might have several
Yeah.
closings lined up, and so sometimes you just have to say respectfully, is it possible for us to go somewhere else to do this? I only need about 20 more minutes of your time.
Yeah.
That happened to me with a Ron closing last week. I couldn't get them to focus, and it's really hard when you're doing a remote closing because everything's being video recorded.
Yeah.
So you have to really be nice. What I kept doing was, we need to focus, because the signers were all over the place. They kept leaving their laptop, and I just finally said, guys, let's bring it in, let's focus. We need to focus and get this done within 15 minutes. I have another closing I need to be at.
Yeah.
And that seemed to help the problem, but sometimes it's pretty hard.
Yeah. I also want to point out there's a big difference between distractions and a personal safety, right?
Yeah.
So if you're being disrupted in a way that's unsafe, like by an animal that's maybe threatening or something, then you absolutely have a right to move this and
Yeah,
to
I've been
decline
bitten. I've been
further.
bitten by a dog, blood
Oh,
and so if I come to the door and there's a big dog and they're holding it, restraining it back, I will ask them to put their dog in a safe place.
yeah.
And
For the
I
record,
know-
though, Stephanie, it doesn't have to be a big dog. Some of those
No.
little ones are holy
Yeah,
terrors.
they
Lori
are.
can tell you. Lori knows.
Well, she's got a couple of holy terrors there.
Great. Well, believe it or not, I think we're up at time. I think we're actually a little past time. So, Alana, would you mind putting that back on the screen, and let's take a look at what's next time. Everybody, please save your calendar, the dates. Save the dates, September 19th, 4 p.m. And the topic is just say no when signing. So we're going to talk a little bit about the circumstances when you would say no during or about a signing. There's lots of circumstances that sometimes you got to stick to your guns and say no about certain things. So thank you guys. You're a wonderful panel. I really appreciate it. Welcome, Alana. And thank you, participants, our audience. Thank you for joining us. I promise if you join us next time, we'll have the chat live and we'll be able to engage with you a little bit more. But we really appreciate all your support of Notary2Pro and for joining us on this roundtable. Thanks, everybody. Hello, I'm Michael Ray, CEO of Notary2Pro. Thanks for joining us for this webinar. Be sure to see our website, Notary2Pro.com, for more information and resources. Also, don't forget to sign up with us there for great additional updates, news, and tools. Notary2Pro is the most respected professional signing agent course in the United States. Founded by Carol Ray in 2009, Notary2Pro has trained more than 10,000 notaries to become professional signing agents. Our graduates are preferred by more signing agencies because only Notary2Pro enables notaries to practice error-free signings. Thanks again, and see you next time.